What is going on YouTube? Hit back making another brand new Crypto TV episode. In today's video, we're going to be looking at obviously XRP, Bitcoin, Ethereum, Litecoin, as well as an article posted by Cointelegraph in regards to Thai Bank launching app for instant cross-border payments powered by Ripple. Pretty awesome. Definitely want to go into that. Obviously, we haven't heard of much news coming out of Ripple's company in quite some time now. So to finally see some action, we'll see kind of how it affects the price, if it has any relevance, or if it's just great news in regards for crypto adoption, for mainstream adoption and real-world use cases. But otherwise, we will obviously be checking out the markets. As we know, or as you should know, with this update, we are starting to see Bitcoin and the other cryptocurrencies starting to correct lower, as explained, as said and mentioned in yesterday's and the video prior to that, in regards to the fact that we are starting to see the dip, we are starting to correct lower, and we will be testing some key levels in regards to the price and in anticipation for which direction we're going to be breaking upwards. If we can finally see some confirmation in regards to where the price is going to be swinging to, if we can break the higher low pattern and the lower high pattern, we should inevitably be able to expect to see a new bull market start to form. Otherwise, if you guys are new to the channel, definitely make sure to subscribe, turn on post notifications, leave a giant thumbs up, and I will see you right after this. So guys, yesterday we left off at a very interesting place. Yesterday we were discussing that we are starting to see the kind of the cap for where exactly XRP and Bitcoin are starting to go. And now we're starting to see that hill and that correction and that dump back lower, as shown in today's video. You can see, or in the titles of yesterday and the day before, what exactly we were referring to. So you can see the clear uptrend that was drawn with the thumbnail XRP title, which immediately broke bullish. And then you can see, as we zoomed in closer, we got intertwined within the high-low MMA on the daily charts, which is a huge resistance. And ultimately, we're starting to correct lower. And if we saw any sort of confirmation of a break below the high-low MMA, we would ultimately assume that we're starting to head back down. And that is exactly what we're starting to see right now. Eventually, I will be pulling up the MACD. I just can't seem to figure out why and how it disappeared. But once I get that added back, we'll obviously be talking about that too on Bitcoin. But obviously, I do want to discuss with you guys the very interesting news as Thai Bank launching app for instant cross-border payments powered by Ripple. As we know, Thailand's oldest bank, SCB, I'm going to call that, has partnered with Ripple to create a mobile application powered by blockchain to deliver instant low-cost cross-border payments. I'd really like to see this move into Chase. I don't know if it's already within Chase. We do know that we do have the JP Morgan token that is available, but that kind of, as quickly as it came around, is as quickly as it died out. I really haven't heard much news from it. It'd be interesting to see whether or not they're using it, but basically he says, as they showed the app in action, sending a payment to a recipient's bank account was within less than 40 seconds, which is crazy. Because as I know, when we see bank wires and big bank cross-border payments, it takes days, and the fee is impeccable and remarkably high. On a $500 transaction, it's a $15 fee through Chase, which is insane. It blows my mind. SCB is also working on Ripple to offer cross-border QR payments. QR payments are popular throughout Asia. Leveraging this capability will allow SCB to offer customers micro-payment services and additional remittances. So basically, like, they'll have a QR code and you scan it and you'll just be able to send your payment exactly like that in a couple of seconds. That's also pretty cool. I'd like to see that technology more in the US. We do have that linked to websites, QR codes, but not really to money and transferring of information. Now, I do just want to discuss with you guys where exactly we're headed within Bitcoin and XRP, because I do believe that's the most important. And as you guys know, we were talking about shorting the cryptocurrency because we were expecting to see that correction to the downside, which is now finally starting to happen. As we know, we are hitting some resistances on XRP, and you might not be able to see it from here, but when zooming in on previous 2017 movements, you'll see why exactly I drew resistances and support. You can clearly see why I have it capped at 30 cents right here, that this is a strong resistance. We could even call one at 27 cents as well, but then you can see we do have bottom support right here, and then even stronger support at the bottom, which is pretty much bricked out at 15 cents, maybe even 16 cents, a little bit higher up. Ultimately, that is the bottom. If we just flash forward about 3 years, currently where we are right now, we have our extremely strong resistance, as we know, on the coin. And in regards to where we're going to be going right now, I can honestly see more consolidation and then a very, very, very high probability of a correction. I'm pretty sure that might be the end dip that we're seeing. And if you guys consider this to be a bull run within XRP, then we could probably expect to see another one. I mean, this was a very, very, very small run, about 15% up, and then we corrected literally about, I'd say, 13% down from the point of break or the point of correction. We had about a 11 and change percentage drop within that price. So we're really not seeing much movement. And honestly, if you guys bought in on this bull run upwards and didn't sell out, you would be costing in the negative unless you bought right at the point of breakout. But I highly doubt a lot of people did that. And they probably bought in, FOMO bought in and the run up, and then we immediately corrected lower. And that's why I'm a conservative trader and I don't like to invest on this. Now, I did make a fairly I don't even want to say unreasonable, but I did make a bad play with my short. I did leave it in for too long, and that opens us up to discussing stop losses, which is obviously something I do want to cover on the channel. I know a lot of you guys are starting to use that, and honestly, I do think it is a great token to start to discuss and use, or a great addition to our, I guess, tool belt, if you want to call it, a key tool that we can use when making more shorts and more longs, and when we do leverage it, because we could lose quite a bit. So by adding a short in the market and by adding a stop loss, we're ultimately going to cover our asses, which is awesome. But as you guys can see, we are starting to correct back lower, and ultimately we may just see some more support and consolidation on this line, and then most definitely break that pattern and correct lower down to around 15, 16 cents before seeing the ultimate breakout as we head into mid 2020, because I do ultimately expect us to see a very nice recovery and for the first time a positive return on our investment as we move into 2020 for XRP. Honestly, we could quote this date, as January 9th. I bet you 1 year from now in 2021, January 9th, the price of XRP should most definitely be a lot higher than where we are now at 20 cents. I'd be very shocked if we see that break to the downside. I'm more anticipating a rally upwards out of the descending triangle. I mean, it would be a huge blow to the XRP community if we break 16 cents and head even lower. That would be honestly a crazy, unexpected move, and I know a lot of people would get very, very, very upset with XRP. But in regards to Bitcoin, something that I really want to talk about, we'll look at Litecoin and Ethereum as well, because I had to refresh Google Chrome and it lost a lot of my charts, so I had to redraw my lines. So some of these might look slightly off from prior. If you do have me on Patreon, these will be updated. It's an automatic update, so you guys do have access to all the slight tweaks and changes that I've added on to my YouTube channel, onto these charts that you'll get on my YouTube channel that I'm displaying right now. But you can see basically what I covered in yesterday's video is in regards to the fact that this uptrend is here to stay, and we do have, as you can see, a higher low than the previous one right here, ultimately driving the coin back up. And we do have these lower lows that are heading down, and they're still lower lows. Each one of these can be considered a lower low than the prior, and you can even, if you wanted to, draw out some sort of resistance line down here, and you can see that we're still in some sort of bearish fractal. This is still a bearish fractal as we head lower. There's just ultimately different zones right here that we're in. You can see we immediately got involved in the high-low MMA, which got extremely immediately rejected, and we're most definitely going to pull lower. Now, this is where the price gets interesting. There's a very, very, very high chance and a great opportunity for shorting. I ultimately do not expect us to break above here that very second before we retest support right here. So if you guys want to take advantage of DueDEX and short the market, this could be one right here, expecting to see a correction to the downside. With the price range right here, we expect to see about a 10% correction to the downside before immediately reversing back upwards. So we're going to see some support being retested. We're going to see sideways movement here, and we're going to see this coin come up and bounce here. If we can hold this coin at this level right here and set a prior higher low than the past one, you can see we'll have this pattern started, then there's a very high chance we could ultimately start to see the coin enter a new bull market and head even higher up, one after the other. The only thing we need to wait for right now, and what we ultimately need to see, is if we can get the current break of the lower lows. If we can finally break the lower low pattern and the lower low formation, we will ultimately send a new bull market and start to head up higher, which will be awesome. But at the moment right now, I am expecting to see this short and this correction more, and I can almost, I don't want to guarantee it, but I say I'm about 90% certain that this correction will send us down to about support right here. We're going to retest this uptrend, which we started back in the beginning of 2019, and we'll continue to trend on this, eventually retesting the resistance right here in the high-low MMA. We could ultimately break bearish and fall back down into support because, as you guys have seen, this has happened numerous times where we'll get in this zone right here and then break bearish. It's happened over and over and over again. So this really isn't much of a bull run. We did see the symmetrical triangle breakout. It was a very short and quick break to the upside, but we did hit overbought on the daily. We hit extremely overbought on the 4-hour, and now it's time for us to consolidate back down. So ultimately, you want to take advantage of DueDEX, definitely make sure to sign up. First link in the description. If you want to make a great trade, I'd recommend shorting the market right now because I really do think, in my own opinion, that this is a great play. If you bought in yesterday, we would have been right at around $8,000, waking up to about $7,800, and we'll probably head back down to around $7,400, where I would put a sell-off right there. Don't expect it to go lower. We're just making conservative trades, but expect to make your money off of this position right here. I've had a 10% correction to the downside, and then obviously you can leverage that as well, but this is going to be a short, and I do expect us to correct back down to $7,300. As for Litecoin and Ethereum, just by quick movements of the lines right here with a slight adjustment and tweak, you can see we're still within a bearish market, and we are at the higher end of these charts right here. You can see with Ethereum too, we're at the peak. We're hitting the resistance line right here. We're hitting that white resistance, and there's a very high chance we're going to fall. Same thing with Ethereum, back down to 124, if not lower, down to $100. I know these are unfortunate levels, but I am expecting to see that short position come in right now, and that the correction and consolidation to lower levels happen. But otherwise, guys, that's going to wrap up today's episode. If you're new to the channel, definitely make sure to subscribe, turn on post notifications. Please do check out DueDEX. They are doing bonuses right now. I believe it's up to $70 in free Bitcoin if you sign up down below. Otherwise, I will see you in tomorrow's video. Peace.